Hello everybody and welcome to another reaction video. And today I'm going to be looking at a band called Vagrant. Not heard of them before, but then they haven't actually released an album yet. Their new album is actually coming out in June. So obviously I tried to find out a little bit about them, but I didn't actually find very much. All I found was that Vagrant are a three-piece epic death/black metal band formed in 2016, and their debut, Rise of the Norn, comes out on June 14th. That's all I found out. So, you know, they're a relatively new band. They have released at least one video I know of on YouTube, which is the one I'm going to be looking at, which is called Blood on a Crow's Beak. So I'm not sure what to expect from this. I mean, it says epic death/black metal. Does that mean black and death metal, maybe? I don't know. So, yeah, I haven't really got much to say about it. The music video itself is a lyric video, so I'll have to see what I can make of the lyrics as I watch it, as I can't find any independent lyrics anywhere. So, since there's not much else to say about it at this present moment, I think we should just get straight on with the video. So, Blood on a Crow's Beak by Vagrant. Let's see. Well, immediately I wouldn't have said this was black metal. Possibly black and death, but it's more of epic death metal. Like, you know, it said epic death/black metal. So black metal might have a further influence in other tracks on the album, but I wouldn't say it has much of an influence in this track. It kind of reminds me, in a way, a little bit, very little bit, of Amon Amarth, you know, but that could also be because of the subject matter of the track itself. And to me it seems to be describing, excuse me, the death of a warrior on the battlefield. Because it talks about, you know, there's a big wound on his chest and it shows a river which will flow into something bigger. So it's like the blood from this warrior's chest is pouring out and is flowing onto the earth. And it says he returns home in death. 1,000 battles have been won, you know, and I can't remember the exact wording. It was something to do with a warrior's death in the eyes of the Norn. So it sounds like it's talking about a warrior or warriors on a battlefield that have died in battle and have been returned home in a triumphant style manner, like they died with honour in battle and they're being returned home to be given a proper burial, this, that and the other. That's what it certainly seems like. Now, the Norn it's something I've heard before. It's been mentioned in Blind Guardian songs, I believe. And Blind Guardian do a lot of fantasy-based music, quite a lot of it based around Lord of the Rings. But Norn, there's two different things that could be associated with Norn. There is a Germanic-style language that was spoken off the west coast of Scotland, I think it was. I can't remember the exact locations of it. But there is also the Norns of Norse mythology, which is what I'm more inclined to believe this is. And I'm going to have a bit of a spiel here. Or should I talk about the Norns now, or should I talk about... I'll talk about the Norns afterwards. I'll explain what they are afterwards, for those people who don't know. But so far, it's actually a pretty good song. Very energetic, it's got a good rhythm to it. It's got a good feel to it. I like it so far. Let's carry on and see what happens. I'm going to pause it there again, because with this being a lyric video, I don't have many, I haven't got the lyrics to go back on and reflect on, as I normally do. But what they've said there, they're talking about this warrior, this lone warrior, lying on the battlefield, bleeding, and it said there's a time comes in every man's life when he sees the darkness in his life. So that's possibly, every man sees his death eventually. Every man dies. And he said, he's left bleeding on the ground. Did he die with honour, or was he just sort of mercilessly slaughtered? And there was a couple of lines in there. I can't remember the exact wording of them, but it's talking about was his life worth it, or was it just wasted? Was the battle he was fighting worthwhile? Was it worth losing his life over, or did he just throw his life away fighting for a pointless cause? And there's another couple of lines will he be remembered, or will he be forgotten straight away? It's is what he done worthy of being remembered? Was it a valiant battle? Did he die with honour? Is he going to be remembered in fables and songs and stuff like that, or is he just going to be another one of the nameless millions that dies on a battlefield and is pretty much forgotten? Because you know, who actually remembers the names of soldiers that have died, but on opposing sides in battles? You know, everybody remembers all the names of all the people, for example, in World War II, all the British soldiers, you know, all the soldiers that were on our side who died in battle. Everybody can go back and see their names engraved on walls and plaques and stuff like that. But I'm sure there must be some that never got their names on there. You know, some who died and were possibly, like, they weren't able to be identified. There was no, you know, they maybe had no family. You know, maybe they were like the last of their line. They were the only person of their family. So, you know, there's no one to actually remember that person. You know, it's quite a tragic thing. But yeah, there was that line again: "A warrior's fate in the eyes of Norn." You know, so it's like he is a warrior, so he's going to die eventually on the battlefield, regardless. You know, warriors very rarely get to grow old. So it's a good song. I'm enjoying it. Let's carry on. Well, there you go. That was actually a very beautiful end to the song there. You know, it was like the final thought of this warrior as he was dying, you know, saying like he's laying there alone on the battlefield, the rain is washing away all like the blood and the dirt and stuff that's all over him, and he can feel himself getting colder, he can feel like the death spreading, throughout his body. And he's laying there alone, godless, essentially. And, you know, he's like, I'm now coming home. So maybe the reference is he's coming home to his family, like in death he's going to join his family, his ancestors and whatnot. So, you know, that was actually quite a beautiful end to the song. It was really, really nice touch. I really liked that. And I have to say, you know, the song overall was fantastic. I love how they had, like right at the beginning, there was this beautiful sort of acoustic bit, and there was a bit in roughly in the middle where there was a bit of an acoustic bit that then sort of built up into the heavy music again. It was a good song, very enjoyable, and like I said, very energetic, very good piece of music. And I love songs that are sort of steeped in fantasy as well. You know, I like things like Balsagoth and Cull, Blind Guardian, and this is another of those sorts of bands by the sounds of it, and it was really an enjoyable piece of music. So yes, very good, very heavy. But like I said before, I wouldn't have said there was black metal in there. It was definitely death metal, possibly melodic death metal or melodic blackened death metal. But I couldn't see any black metal influence. But as I also said, there could possibly be more black metal influences, you know, throughout the rest of the album. I don't know. We shall have to see. Now, earlier I mentioned the Norns, which I was going to talk about earlier, but I decided to wait until the end of the video because there's a bit of description here. And it says the Norns. In Norse mythology, the Norns are female beings who create and control fate. This makes them the most terribly powerful entities in the cosmos, more so even than the gods, since the gods are subject to fate just like any and all other beings. According to one description of the Norns in the Old Norse poem, I'm going to pronounce this horribly, Fafnismal, they are a great many of them, and no one knows the exact number. Some of them come from the gods, others from the elves, and still others from the dwarves. The poem Voluspa, again, probably pronounced it horribly, however, has another grander account of them and has perhaps deservedly become the standard image that people today associate with the Norns. In the Voluspa, the Norns are mysterious beings who don't seem to come from any of the recognised kinds of beings who populate the Norse otherworld. They seem to be a category unto themselves. There are exactly 3 of them, and their names suggest their ability to construct the content of time. The first one is Erd, which means the past, and a common word for fate in and of itself. The second being Verdandi, which stands for what is presently coming to being, so it's like the present, now. And the third is Skuld, which means what shall be, so that's the future. And they live in a hall by a well, the Well of Fate. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Norse version of that because it's got too many letters in it. And that is beneath Yggdrasil, basically the world tree at the centre of the Norse otherworld, which holds the 9 realms. So here you've got the three fates, as it were, kind of like if you've seen Hercules, like Disney's Hercules. There's the 3 fates that Hades speaks to.
We know everything, past, the present, and the future.
This is basically like a Norse version of that, since a lot of Norse and Greek gods seem to share a lot, because in Norse mythology, obviously, you've got Odin, and in Greek mythology, you've got I can't remember his name. Hercules' father. I can't remember his name. But you get what I mean. There seems to be a lot of comparisons between Greek mythology and Norse mythology. So, yeah, like I say, it's like the 3 fates from the Greek mythology, past, present, and future, and they have control over fate and the way things play out, and as it says, the gods are also subjected to fate. So these 3 are essentially the most powerful beings in existence. So that's what the Norns are, and like I said, the album itself is called Rise of the Norn. So it's essentially like the rise of the fates, I'm guessing. There's also the title of the track, Blood on a Crow's Beak, which in and of itself suggests carrion crows on a battlefield after a battle, pecking at the bodies that are left behind. So, yeah, the song itself was great. It was really enjoyable. I'm very much looking forward to hearing something else of this that might come up in the future. Like I said, the album comes out in June, so might be a while before we hear anything else from the band. They might actually release another single sometime soon, maybe next month, possibly, I don't know. We shall have to see. But I can't really say much more about it because I don't really have much else to go by. So I will leave that as it is. If anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or you can message me on my Facebook or my Instagram. The links for those are in the description below. If you do suggest a track, just do know that it will take a while for me to get around to it, as I get suggested dozens of tracks every single day, and my list of tracks grows faster than I can record them. But rest assured, I do write down every suggestion I get given, so it will get done. It will just take me a while to get around to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. They are a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those that are aimed at people of the alternative subculture. excuse me, whether it be listening to alternative music, wearing alternative clothing, what have you. I mean, essentially they want to put an end to all hate crimes, but the main focus, more or less, is the alternative subculture, since that is how the foundation came into being. Now, this is a charity I think is very, very worthwhile, because it's something that's very close to my heart. Because, you know, everybody has the right to be an individual. Everybody has the right to express themselves however they want to. Okay, like, if you want to listen to alternative music, listen to alternative music. No one can tell you otherwise. If you want to wear, like, gothic clothing, wear gothic clothing. Nobody can tell you otherwise. If they don't like it, they don't have to look at it. They can look somewhere else. If you want to have piercings, have piercings. It's not up to someone else whether you do it or not. And, you know, no one should have to fear for their safety when they go outside, for fear that someone is going to attack them. And this happens all too regularly. It happens almost on a daily basis. People are getting physically and verbally attacked just because they choose to dress differently, just because they choose a different type of music. Just yesterday I did a video where the subject of the video was anti-bullying, and, you know, is something that's very, very important to me. And the same day that I released that video, and I went on a massive rant about bullying and how people verbally and physically attacking people is ridiculous, and yesterday I got a comment saying, "I see you've fallen face first into a fishing tackle box." You know, somebody thought it was an acceptable thing. You know, somebody I've never even met, someone I don't know, I've never even spoken to before, decided that they were going to launch insults at me because I have piercings in my face. On the same day, I released, I think it was a 35-minute video featuring a song against bullying and talking about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, how they're fighting to stop this sort of thing. And this guy thought it was an okay thing to throw insults at me because I've got piercings in my face and telling me that I look ridiculous. Now, I actually replied to the guy when he said that. I said, I haven't fallen into a fishing tackle box. I have piercings. You know, and what exactly was the point in saying that to me? You know, what did it get you? It got you nothing. Why do you think it was an acceptable thing to throw an insult at me when you don't even know me? You don't know anything about me, but you think it was an acceptable thing to do. Why? And all he can, you know, I mentioned the fact that I support the Sophie Lancaster Foundation and this, that and the other. You know, I went on a bit of a rant talking about how bullying is like sad. You know, it's pathetic, and, you know, there's no point to it because no matter what you say or do, I'm not going to change my opinion. And he came back with, "Oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you still look ridiculous." I mean, it's disgusting. What was the point in it? What did it achieve? It achieved absolutely nothing. Maybe it made him feel good about himself for a few minutes because, ha ha ha, I just made fun of someone. I don't know. Why? What is the point? It's ridiculous. It doesn't get you anything. It just makes you look like a sad, pathetic little person because you've got nothing better to do with your life than bully someone that you don't even know. You know, this is how I look. This is what I want to look like. I have the piercings because I like them. I like the way they look. Many other people have piercings because they like the way they look. If you don't like piercings, don't look at them. It's simple. But there is no need to turn around and throw an insult at someone that you don't even know just because they've got piercings and you don't like it. The same goes with clothing. If they're wearing something you don't like, don't bloody look at them. It's simple. You know, it doesn't affect your life in any way. You know, what is the point in doing it? It doesn't get you anything, and all you end up doing is making someone feel shit about themselves. And what really does that accomplish? Nothing. It doesn't accomplish anything. All you're doing is making someone feel miserable for the sheer sake of it. You know, I just can't understand the logic behind it. You know, everybody at some time in their life has probably been bullied. Everybody. And they all know how it feels to be bullied. So if they know how horrible it feels, why would they inflict it on someone else? What is the point? What is the purpose? You know, you don't get anything from it. There's no point. Why can't we just stop it? You know, just because you don't like the way someone looks doesn't mean you can insult them, doesn't mean you can attack them. It needs to stop. And it gets me so wound up and so frustrated because I don't see the point in it. As I mentioned in the video just that, I've never been an aggressive person. I've never been a violent person. I've always been passive. I've always gone for diplomacy over anything else. You know, and I don't see the need for aggressiveness, insults, you know, prejudice and hatred. I don't see the point. It doesn't get you anywhere. And this is exactly what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation stands for. You know, the name Sophie obviously refers to Sophie Lancaster, the unfortunate young lady who got beaten to death because of the way she dressed. You know, but Sophie means stamp out prejudice, hatred and intolerance everywhere. And it's a brilliant message. It needs to be done, and we need to support this because this stuff needs to stop. It cannot go on. You know, you see in the papers so many people, you know, who are committing suicide because they're being relentlessly bullied and attacked. You know, and it's disgusting. It shouldn't come to this. It needs to stop. If you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what their goal is, find out what they're working on at the moment, and you know, if you can help them in any way at all, it's greatly appreciated. Even if it's something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, or even maybe this one, you know, every little bit helps. They've got new merchandise that's just come in recently, you know. The smallest bit helps, the smallest bit is greatly appreciated, and the more awareness we bring to this, the better, because this sort of thing, it needs to stop. But I'm going to leave that as it is. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.